welcome. Thank you so much for today. I'm going to introduce you. So we have Louise Noble and we have Sarah Lucas at Legal Help Services Limited, and you guys write wills. And the reason why I wanted to have this video with you is because I think it's so important for you guys to kind of educate people on what you do and why it's so important, especially for parents who are very anxious about the thought of something happening to them and not knowing what's going to happen to their child, especially in situations where their child cannot advocate for themselves. And so my advocacy service, which will be launching in 2026, is going to help a real problem, but I wanted to provide a more holistic solution. So it's not just sign up for our advocacy service, but it's actually, why don't you consider having a will? Why don't you consider having life insurance? And then insert our advocacy service into those things so that you don't have to worry about funding this for the foreseeable future and you're no longer here. And actually, if this is something that you really are passionate about, if it's in your will, it's going to be taken a lot more seriously and it's going to be enforced at a greater degree than if you just kind of said it to somebody and it wasn't written down. So that's kind of what I was thinking about. So first, would you like to introduce yourselves and just say quickly, 5 minutes, what you do and how you can help?
Certainly.
Yes, so I'm Sarah Lucas and I'm an expert in wills and trusts. So basically it's for vulnerable people that we can manage finances for the parents post-death. So basically it's a way that they can write down instructions and make sure that the children are looked after financially, at a time when they're going to need it because they're not going to be there.
Yeah, my name is Louise Noble. I'm also an expert in will writing and trusts. Also other reasons for making sure that guardianship's in place, so younger children, it's guaranteed whoever they decide would look after their children, that would obviously be put in place as well in a will. So it's not only the financial side but obviously the care side as well.
Okay, awesome stuff. Now let's get to some questions. We'll just do a quick 2 minute of each question, nothing super long. Okay, 2 to 5 minutes per question. All right, so what are the risks if parents pass away and they don't have a will in place?
Okay, if there's no will in place, obviously places, people like social services could make decisions on who is the right person to look after the child, and that might not have been the wishes of the person, the client. So if it's in writing, obviously that wish is definitely going to be carried out.
I've worked for cases where even family members have been saying that, yes, I'll care for the child. And if social services don't think it's suitable, maybe it's outside of the area of the school or they're not quite, familiar with ANT, they will put them into care, and it can be like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks until they make their assessment. So we have to do it. We have to get, things in place via a will.
Okay, thank you. How does a will help to ensure that the right people make decisions for the child?
Okay, so on a person's death, money can go into different types of trusts, and the client would have chosen who would be in control of the finances. So also, if, for example, there was a property that can also obviously be put into trust to protect, because if a child was to inherit in a will, then obviously monies can be taken straight away for that child's care in the future. Where if it was protected and you've got 2 trustees that would oversee that money, the money would only be allowed to be distributed in the child's best interest. So it's a control, because obviously a child can be vulnerable, or even as a vulnerable adult. There's other people, they're called trustees, that would actually be overseeing that money and making sure the children or the adult got the right money.
And there's also special vulnerable persons trusts. So I think a lot of people associate trusts with like higher tax. However, they really serve vulnerable people. So the monies can be held within a trust with a set of instructions on anything that the parent wants them. You know, they might want them to go on a holiday or education or just live a certain way. They can have everything there like that, but it can all be organised without the tax implications that you usually have with trusts.
Okay, that's good to know. What mistakes do families commonly make when writing wills without specialist guidance, if they did it themselves?
Well, for one, obviously, if you have a specialist do it, you know that the will is a legally binding document. You know, I've had people say to me, oh, I can just write my wishes down on a postage stamp or whatever, and that will be carried out. Obviously, if it's done legally and professionally, everybody knows where that will's stored. So it just makes the smooth running for the rest of the family and makes sure that the person's wishes are carried out correctly.
And you can also have professionals who manage your money and who invest. So we would have duties to invest that money and make it grow so that there would be more there for the children. So generally we say have a professional trustee that works alongside a family trustee, and that way, you know, you can get the best of both worlds.
Got it. Okay. How can a will ensure that money is used specifically for the child's care and quality of life? This is the big one.
Well, like Sarah said, as the person that's writing the will, the parent, they can put their wishes down. There's what they call a memorandum of wishes, and various wishes could be written on there. So they're sort of speaking from beyond the grave, if you like. They can make sure that that continues even after they've passed away. Making sure that, you know, obviously money's going the right direction.
So yeah, the trust has to be written in a certain way. So if it's not written in that way that's instructed by the parents, then the trustees aren't doing the best for that trust. They're not fulfilling their duties. So it has to be distributed in accordance with the wishes.
Okay. And what would you say to parents that are like, I'll just do it later? There's no real rush to do a will right now. What would you say? I think I know the answer.
Yeah, there's never the right time to do a will. I mean, as soon as you give birth, you should do a will, you know. And some people say to us, oh, we haven't got a lot, we haven't got many assets and things like that. Nobody knows at point of death what the estate's going to be worth. And also, you know, even if there's not a lot in that estate, it's making sure that as a parent, number one, to us as parents, as ourselves, you know, we want to make sure our child is looked after correctly. So, you know, even if you haven't got a massive estate, we can't emphasize enough the importance of getting even a very basic will in place. And obviously that's why we work with charities like yourself to make sure people, you know, no matter what their financial status is like, that they do have a will in place so the wishes are carried out.
And nobody ever thinks it's going to happen to them, do they? So we just say, even if you've got the simplest of wills, it can be varied then. So say there's two parents, anybody only ever comes to us if they've had bad news in the family. So nobody thinks, right, I'll go and make a will. So at least then something happens to dad, mum can come to us, vary dad's will, put in a list of instructions, and it can be done later. So just a simple will is really worth doing.
And also, my knowledge and my experience know that life insurance and wills work really well together to create that extra security. Would you like to explain a little bit more of why that's actually true?
Well, obviously, life insurance, it's quicker to come out into the estate to the child, number one. So, and also it can cover costs if there's mortgages on properties and things like that. Obviously it'd be paid out to cover that, so that house then becomes 100% an asset. But it's just making sure that there is monies available, you know, immediately, if you like, for the sake of the family.
Even inheritance tax. So that's got to be paid, hasn't it, after 6 months? So it just means you've got that pot of money that can be used like for an emergency straight away. But
when I do launch it in 2026, it's going to be a solution to a really big problem. but I just wanted to make sure that when I launch it, I could offer something that the parents are like, okay, I've got that covered. You know, one less thing for them to worry about.
Yeah.
They already have so much to worry about on a daily basis because their child has special educational needs. I just want them to be able to sleep at night, that if something did happen, that they have something in place. And having a will, having the life insurance, I feel like these are basic things that are really, really necessary, foundational stuff. And our service will then, it just makes our service much more easier to carry out because we're not having to worry about the finances. They're not having to worry about the finances. They just pay their life insurance policy. They just make sure it's in their will. And then they know for the rest of their child's lives, something's going to make sure that their child's safe. Yeah, they're safe, they're cared for, you know, they're being checked upon. And I don't see anything like this at the moment. And definitely parents that I know, and I come across a lot, none of them have a solution for this problem. And so I think partnering with us and doing this is going to give so much exposure, but it's going to be such a good teaching moment to a lot of families that are struggling with the thought. I was speaking to a client a couple of weeks ago and I told her about this. I said, what do you think? She was like, I didn't even want to think about that, but she was like, whatever you need, just let me know because I think it's great. And I was like, okay. And so I said, I'll do it then, because I do feel like I didn't know what to reply when parents say this is the biggest fear for me. I didn't really know a solution, but now we have one. Then I'm just ready to go, and I know it's going to be pretty amazing.